Hi, everybody. This is Angel Cicerone, and we are so excited to bring you another pandemic success story. And this one's a doozy because it actually started kind of opposite of what you would think. So with me today is Monica Moreland. She's the owner of the Movement Studio in Plymouth, Minnesota. And you started your journey a little over a year ago, Monica?
Correct. About March 18th of last year.
So prime pandemic starting time, right?
Exactly.
You started your journey into the fitness business because you were actually furloughed from another company.
Correct. Yep. I was a trainer at a local gym for about 15 years there. And then I got furloughed. And just to keep people motivated and energized, I started doing some workouts from home. Well, actually, from my mom's home, just via Facebook Live. And next thing you know, we had 7,000 people taking these workouts.
So how did you get 7,000 people? I mean, that's crazy.
To be honest, I don't know. A lot of it was word of mouth. So people would join and they'd invite. We did a little local news segment that kind of got a lot of buzz in the area. But other than that, word of mouth.
So you garnered this amazing following. And then how long did it take you before you said, hey, I think I should open my own studio?
Probably a couple months. I started to get some people just started to pay me or donate to me just out of the kindness of their heart. And those donations started coming in more frequently, bigger amounts. So I started saving them. And that just kind of gave me a nice base that I could use to jumpstart. And I thought if there was ever a time in my life to start my own studio, this was the time.
So, before we get into starting the studio, so here you are furloughed from a 15-year job. And how are you feeling? Were you feeling bad? Were you feeling scared? I mean, where was your head emotionally at that point?
Emotionally, I wasn't, I mean, like everyone, I had no idea what was happening. I thought it was going to be 2 weeks. So I was just prepared to do 2 weeks worth of workouts. My main goal was to keep people motivated because I was afraid they'd get unmotivated and then not come back to the gym. So I just wanted to keep them in their routine. And that started to be what kept people, like that was their only routine during that time, was I'm going to work out with Monica at 6 a.m. or 9 a.m. So that became their routine, working out with me.
All right, so here you are doing your workouts. You've got this big following. Had you always wanted to open your own studio?
Yes, I've always wanted to. I just never thought there would be a time and a place for it. We have the huge gyms in the area. I was like, how could I compete with something like that? So I just thought it was a dream out there in
The Netherlands, in the
Neverland.
nether space. Okay, so now you've got a little money, and you're like, if there was ever a time I'm going to open up my own studio. Oh, by the way, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So
yeah,
tell me how you made that decision and that transition.
I was feeling good. I was excited, and everyone else kind of thought I was a little crazy, except everyone in the group was very supportive of it. So I started looking at spaces. I've always looked at the space that we're in because I live in the area, and I just kind of thought that'd be a good place. It's convenient. And so I called the name that was on the door and met with the broker, and pretty soon I was signing a lease.
Okay, so how long from the time you decided to the time you actually opened?
I started looking in June. I signed in what's the next one? July. And then we actually went through construction. So I wasn't physically using the space. We were doing them outside. And then we physically opened in October to have people in the studio.
October 2020. So now we're still in the middle of a pandemic.
Yep.
Gyms are still at limited capacity, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So you did something very unique with your business. So you're opening in the middle of this pandemic. We're heading into the darkest days, as they said at the time, going into the winter. Tell me about your gym and what you've done.
So my concept was I wanted to make it, because right now we were all virtual. I wanted the virtual people to feel like they were part of the studio. So we, as you can see, there's a projector right behind me. We project all of the members onto this giant wall, and then we have some TVs with them on it. So they are actually in the studio working out with us or with me. Most of the time it was just me because we couldn't have members in the studio. So
Right.
watching them, yeah. So
So
I
you
just wanted them to
project,
feel like they were in, yeah.
individual members are showing up on that wall.
So think of like a Zoom call with 100 people,
I love it.
and we have 100 people on the wall, and it's huge. So they're a good size. So you can really see them. To be honest, I feel like I'm more connected with those members than the members I've normally trained behind my back, because I'm seeing them and their lives. I'm seeing their kids, their cats, their dogs, their living room, their husbands walking through. So it's just like we can kind of joke back and forth and get to really know each other better, even though we're virtual, which is kind of weird.
I love this. So now, not only are you conducting virtual classes, but you're literally having people get together.
Correct. Yes. And it's created this huge community. This People are now friends with people they met through the Zoom call. People are shouting each other out on the workout. People are saying, "Hey, Brenda, are you going to be at 6 a.m.?" And they probably have never met Brenda. So it's created this a great community of accountability.
So my question to you is, you think you would have been this creative had it not been for the pandemic?
Definitely not. No, I thought working out at home was lame. I didn't think you could actually work out at home. I thought you had to be in a gym. And then I did the first workout March 18th, and instantly after that workout, I was like, this is great. This is awesome. And I've learned that most people in my group say they're in the best shape of their life because they have no excuses. They are home. They can work out. They don't have to miss a day. So it's been the opposite of what I ever would have thought.
Exactly. And you would think, oh God, people they can't come in the gym. We're not going to do any business. So tell us, you opened in October. Tell us the success story about membership and where they are in terms of in class as opposed to virtual.
So we started, went from free to fee, and we had about I'd say 700 people initially join right within that first week.
Paying members.
Paying members, 700 switched from the free group to wanted to pay and continue on.
Okay.
And we've slowly grown. I think we're at about 900 now. So we switched and we just created, it was pretty seamless on their end. They just had to pay. So, and then what was the second part of that?
So are you doing mostly virtual or?
Oh, yes, mostly virtual. I'd say about of the 900, 750 currently are doing virtual only, and then 150 have the option to come in studio and do virtual.
And do you have a different payment schedule?
Yep. So it's a monthly payment. You either pay the virtual fee or the studio and virtual. Everyone gets all the online stuff. You just have to be a paying studio member, and then you just reserve your spot online because there's limited spaces. So you pick your spot, you can come to class, and say you're a virtual member who wants to come to class, you're in town or something, you can still pay and buy that class, or you're a person walking down the street and you want to try it, you can still pay and try a class.
Right. So what you've done essentially is you've literally knocked down the walls of a gym by having people from all over the country become members.
Exactly. We have people from Australia. We have someone now in Europe, France, people all over the country. Yeah.
So this is testimony to your teaching style as well, which is great. But the idea that you've created a physical space for a virtual gym is extremely creative. You've engaged people with each other, not just you, which is the essence of a great business.
Exactly.
And you did it during a pandemic.
Yes, which is, I mean, it's you could never think of it. It happened. And what I love is, like you said, the community that has built. I can now step back and the community. They're there. They're was what keeping it. They're the ones promoting Movement Studio now. They're out there telling people about it. And then when people come into the studio and they see the virtual people on the screen, they're like, oh, I can work out at home too. That's kind of cool. So it
No.
just makes, it's just a really fun dynamic that never would have thought of doing this before.
So Monica, in the work that I do with gyms and restaurants and retail across the country, during the pandemic, so many people really just complained about limited capacity and how it was affecting their business. But
Yep.
you were saying limited capacity be damned. I am literally opening my gym up to anyone in the world, and it made all the difference in the world.
Exactly. Now it's anyone can join. I could say I could cap off at right now 12 people in studio. I can have 400 of people virtual. So say they can't get a spot in studio, they can still be part of it. And then I think they know how engaged they are, even if they're not in studio, is still very motivating to members. So anyone can join, and it's really unreal.
Do you think this is the model for gyms in the future?
I hope so. I really do, because now I have people going on vacations. Like today, we had a lady in Florida on vacation. She was on the beach doing the workout with us. We had people in Montana right now because it's spring break, all over Cancun. So there, it's you used to leave on vacation and be like, I can't work out, I'm on vacation. But now, bring your workout with you.
I love it. So now you are a successful entrepreneur, a new one, but successful.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to give somebody who was struggling right now with how to pivot, I hate the word, but how to pivot, how to reimagine their business, what kind of advice would you tell them?
I would tell them it all starts with your attitude and how you perceive things, and people are attracted to people that are positive. And so if you can come in this crappy situation, but come out of it with a positive outlook or how you're going to approach things, say, oh, it's a bummer we can't have you all in the studio, but I can't wait to do a Zoom workout with you. I can still see you. And so I would encourage everybody, use technology. It's not going away. People are now realizing I can work out at home. It's convenient for them. So I would just say everyone should do this. Start Zooming your workouts, inviting people, your members, to join you via Zoom if they can't come in person.
And what do you think the future holds for your gym?
That's a great question. I hope we have to knock down the wall and make it bigger. No, I just hope that we continue to grow virtually, to be honest. And just, it's amazing that I can now reach people who didn't live in my neighborhood to work out with me. And we can just reach so many more people that are now benefiting from this around the world.
Monica, I love your story so much. I hope that everyone who watches this is inspired by your courage and your innovation, to see that out of dire circumstances oftentimes comes great opportunity. You are living proof of that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited, and it's been a fun ride so far.
Well, you are very welcome, Monica. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.